Hi, my name's Andy. I wasn't going to make this video because I didn't think you guys wanted a third video on the exhaust leak that I'm having with my car. But I thought, well, now that I've got this far into it, I've got this thing off, and I think I found a problem that I was having, and I thought maybe sharing this with you guys might add some value to somebody out there. The first video I had done on this, I replaced the exhaust manifold gaskets, and that helped a little bit, but that really wasn't the main problem I was having. The driver's side exhaust manifold had, the second video, had some holes right here in the primary tubes, and you could see through them because they were so big. And that was the biggest part of the exhaust leak that I was having, and that was an easy fix. I took it to a muffler shop. He welded up the primaries, and we stuck it back on there, and it really fixed a lot of it, but I could still hear that subtle sound that that gives away an exhaust leak. And it's one of those things where once you hear it, then you can't stop hearing it. From the driver's seat, it sounded like maybe it was on the passenger side of the car. So I took the manifold off and took a look at it, and on the driver's side manifold there was that telltale black exhaust streak. Like on the primary tubes there was some black soot right where the holes were, and on this one, while this thing is fairly black, there isn't any of that. And I was just trying to figure out where else that sound could be coming from. So then I got to looking at the exhaust manifold gasket, and on the gasket you can see on cylinder number 2 the black soot area on the bottom of the manifold gasket. That's telling me that maybe exhaust is getting out there. So I took the exhaust manifold and I put a straight edge across it, and it's going to be hard to show here. Let me move the camera. So if we take a straight edge and we put it on this flange here, it's really subtle, but it's rocking on, this is actually cylinder number 3. And the exhaust leak I was having was on the bottom of cylinder number 2, and that makes sense if this is rocking on 3, and it's, you know, when we do this, we can, it's skipping over. If we push down on 3 and 4, I can see light through that gap. You can't see it in the camera, but I can see light just subtly back behind here, and on number 1. If we push down here, then there's gonna be light on cylinder number 4. So that tells me this is a little high. So maybe what I can do is, these are cheap headers. Really, maybe I should just get new ones, but for the time being, while I save up for that, if I can just ever so subtly sand this down, I might be able to flatten this out. Taking this to a machine shop and having them mill this deck would be a lot better, but that's gonna come at a cost. And these are cheap. They're not worth spending a bunch of money on, but if I can just take this edge off, I might be able to flatten these back out, and they might seal up better. I talked to a friend, and he thought maybe if we were to cut the flange and free up the stresses that each of these primaries are having, I might be able to tighten each one down to the head. But my concern is if there's any stress in these primaries right now, and I cut those and they become, you know, really unlevel, then I really don't want to make them worse. So we're gonna just try to sand this down just a little bit. I've got a belt sander, and we're just gonna sneak up on it and just take a little tiny bit at a time. All right, so I'm gonna use my Harbor Freight belt sander, which again, this is not some high quality, highly accurate tool, but if you look at it, it just happens to be long enough that I think we might be able to just get this down here. And I know belt sanders will take a lot of material in a hurry, so we need to sneak up on it and be careful with it. So let's give this a try. Now this is a great example right here, just right off the bat. Just putting this on here. I guess the header, we should put it the right way. Okay, so this spot and this spot were taken care of by the belt, and a little bit of that, and not really anything on this one, which is the number 2 primary, which we thought was low to begin with. So I'm already starting to see that just barely touching it on here is starting to take some material off, and I have to be careful because I can remove too much material. I may make this worse than better. So do this at your own risk, guys. Now let's check this thing for flatness and see how we did. You can see the discoloration that we've taken a lot of that soot and rusty material off the face of this, but we clearly have some high spots and some low spots because this hasn't been touched yet. So let's see how we did. All right, so putting this on here, it's still, again, it's hard to tell on the camera. It's better than it was, but we haven't fixed the problem yet. There's still a little bit of rocking in this, and I know these are cheap manifolds. So guys, this is maybe not the best way to do this, but when you're in your own garage, you know, I could sneak up on it with some sandpaper, but what I like about that belt sander is it kind of takes an even pass instead of me pushing too hard here and then pushing too hard there with some sandpaper. So we'll just keep at it. So we've gotten it better. This really is not ideal, guys, and I don't want to give you an impression that you buying one of these will fix your headers, but we're able to kind of get the color mostly uniform on this stuff, and really I don't need to get down into the scratches so much as just getting this face just more uniform. It's not perfect, but it's probably better. Let's put it on the bench again and see how we came out. So again, putting this straight edge on here, it is better. It's not perfect, and I understand that the limits of this, the way I'm doing this, is not going to produce a best, you know, a perfect result. And this is this is not a, you know, metered, some sort of scaled or measured straight edge. It's just a, I mean, it could be off for all I know, but it is better, but it's not perfect. So we're gonna try to put this on the car and see if this did it. It is better, but it's not as good as maybe quality headers would be. So let's just see how it comes out. Now what's sad is I tried to put these new fasteners in here so that I could get a better, so the problem with these primaries is where everything is, I can't get a box end wrench on these. I can only do the open end wrench. And on this one, you can, obviously I can get the, but in here I can't get this end of the wrench in there. So putting like these kind of bolts in there, I have to use this end, and to try to tighten that, I just can't do enough without trying. I mean, I'm afraid of stripping the head of these things trying to do that, whereas this is a much better fit. And so I'm trying these new bolts. Well, the ones I have the most problem with, I can't get those in there because I can't, the primary tube's in the way for getting the Allen tool in there. So I'm forced to use this style anyways. So maybe I'll just go back to the other ones. I don't know, but this was an attempt that didn't work out. that already sounds better. I guess I'm probably hypersensitive to the sound of that exhaust now, thinking that every little sound that I'm hearing, is it coming from the exhaust, is it something else? But it does sound better. I mean, we've gone from replacing those exhaust manifold gaskets in one video, and then we found the holes in the driver's side manifold in another video, and then with this video, the leak that we were finding on the passenger side, again, it wasn't a perfect fix, and it probably wasn't the ideal fix, and I don't know if I'd recommend that to anybody. It was a cheap, in your garage, just, you know, try to see if we can make it work until I can get me some proper headers for this car. So, all right guys, well thanks for sticking with me on this video. This wasn't planned, this was just something that I was taking it apart and thought, you know what, I might as well talk about it since I'm here. So that's why this video is not really kind of following the standard format. But anyways, if you like it, give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it, and subscribe if you can. I appreciate it, helps my channel out. All right guys, we'll see you in the next one.